You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by Focus-Biz.com. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to today's podcast. The topic for today is going to be objections, rejections, how to overcome them, how to move past them, how to not let it drag your business down. So stay tuned. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you.
It's
how are you?
It's great to see you today. I'm doing wonderful.
It is good to see you. It's been a minute. We talk online more than we see each other, I feel like, recently.
As per usual.
I guess, that's true.
A lot of video games.
Yeah.
Texting back and forth.
It's true.
Dank memes. The usual.
That's funny. All right, so the topic today, rejection, objection. What would you say the difference is between objection and rejection?
Well, an objection is basically, in a sense, it's a rejection to some sort of idea, the value, the money, what they're going to get out of something. And a lot of the times we can see an objection as a rejection and we think the sale's over. That's it. Whereas I believe most rejections can be objections if you have a clever way to overcome them. So sometimes at the end of the day, it may not be worth it to try to overcome those and just accept this isn't a great fit for either of us. Mm-hmm. Because as business owners, we're typically trying to chase every single lead and we try to close every single lead that we can. And at the end of the day, you can only close so many people, and there's a lot of other options out there. You may not be the best fit. So I think that's really important to understand that you're not going to close every lead. It's going to be between 10% to 30%, depending on your industry. Mm-hmm. So no matter how low you make the price, how nice you are, how fast you get them in, sometimes it's just not a good fit as a customer. And I think that's really important. So I think an objection is a common negative that people look at, but you have to make the spin and understand why do they feel that way about the rejection or the objection, and find a way to alleviate their concerns.
Yeah. I found that, in my industry specifically, really any financial industry, objections generally come from lack of education, either on the product or how it can benefit them. And it's all about finding the need for your customer and being able to fulfill that need. And if you don't do that enough or correctly or whatever, it's going to end up in an objection regardless. And then the objection can definitely lead to a rejection. And I've been objected and rejected several times in my career. So, because I have a career, I don't think I've ever said that before in my career. Yikes. Yeah, it happens all the time. Either I'm not the cheapest or I am the cheapest. They really like the guy they're working with and blah, 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 blah. And when I started out, I would take it personally.
Absolutely.
And it sucked taking it personally. I'm just like, okay, I did something wrong here. Like, I didn't do this. I should have said this. The whole car ride home, I'm screaming at myself about everything I did wrong and stuff.
Like, I hate him.
Yeah, pretty much. I would take it personally, and that makes the next appointment even harder.
You kind of set yourself up expecting to get rejected again.
Yeah, it's a mind game. Like, it happens automatically without you even thinking about it. You're just like, shit. Well, they said no, so the next person's probably going to say no because I suck and I'm terrible. I should probably take a shower.
There's a really good episode on Netflix, Mr. Show.
Oh, sure.
Where Bob Odenkirk, he's playing this Quran salesman, and basically they go around and they're like, we have the best-selling book to date. We're here to offer it to you. Problem is, the guy never made a sale. So he actually meets a family. He's like, oh, my husband actually runs a mosque and they need more Qurans. And he's like, I understand. I'm going to get going now. Like, the guy never made a sale. He's just so used to rejection. He ends up selling himself short. So they're like, no, this is actually great quality. I would love to put in an order for 20. I understand it may not be in your budget right now, so I'm going to get going. And that's the problem when you get that non-selling mindset in you, that becomes what you expect the outcome to be.
Right.
And I think it shows you how quickly that can poison your mind. And you say no to yourself before you let someone else reject you. You reject yourself.
Absolutely. Reject yourself. You don't have... I think one of the ways to take that on preemptively with the taking it personally, selling yourself short, is to convince yourself that there's a value in what you're selling or the service you're providing. You have to convince yourself that there is a value here. Because if you don't believe it, how the hell are you going to get somebody else to believe it?
Exactly.
Whether you're selling mosques or insurance or entertainment services, you have to believe that you have a value, because then it makes everything else just a little bit easier.
Right.
You understand what they're missing out on. Let me talk to you about it.
Right. And you are going to find those people who desperately need exactly what you're offering.
Yep.
I can't tell you how many times I've been cold called by a business, and my first thought is, oh great, another cold call. But then I'm like, okay, let me just listen, because I know I'm on the opposite end of that many times. So I'm more receptive to taking cold calls. So I'm going to ask them, what are you offering? What is it about your business that can help me? And after their pitch, I realize, okay, that is a valuable service or product that I could benefit from. I'm going to keep you in mind going forward, or they make the sale right there. And that's something to keep in mind as well. There's people out there who want your product or service. You just got to find them.
Right. Absolutely. There's always someone. But that's where in sales, everybody says it's a numbers game. You know, you have to talk to 100 people and you might sell 10. Like, that sounds like, oh my God, really? But honestly, if you believe in what you're selling, then you want to tell 100 people about it.
Right. And then you realize the faster I can get those 90 rejections out of the way, then you have your 10 sales.
Exactly. So a lot of it, unfortunately, is about mindset. Which can be very hard to designate for yourself. It's very difficult for some people, like myself, to put myself in a motivated state of mind or something like that. You know,
I believe they call it optimism.
Sure. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to be optimistic about things. But once I've decided that the service that I'm providing is valuable, that I have been doing this long enough where, like, I know what I'm talking about now. I've educated myself on what's going on, so that way I immediately have that little bit more confidence in the whole thing. Whether I'm cold calling somebody, I mean, it's April 1st. Last year, April 1st, I started Goosehead. April 6th, actually. But yeah, I'm like almost a year.
Early congratulations to you,
Thank
sir.
you. Yeah, it's super cool. But last year, 2021. The whole thing was, hey, cold call mortgage professionals and try and build referral partnerships with them. I'm like, what? You want me to call people? You don't want me to sell them insurance? You want me to tell them to give me people to sell insurance too? What the hell kind of ruse is that?
Like, what value does that provide to them?
Exactly.
How do I pitch that?
Exactly. How do I pitch that? And it took a long time for me to develop the confidence in myself that, yes, okay, these people, they have a job, they have a business, their business is to get as many mortgages sold as possible because that's how they make money. Well, you need insurance when you buy a mortgage. You just have to. Why not have a resource for that that's going to be confident in what they're doing, that's going to be reliable? And that's just basically what it is. I had to convince myself there was a value in what I was doing. So now when I call somebody, it's so easy now to just talk to somebody. A lot of times I get a no. A lot of times they'd be like, I've been working with the same 3 people for the last 20 years. And I'm just like, totally understand that. Maybe is there anybody new on your team that might benefit from an introduction or something? Like, like I never would have said that a year ago. I'd be like, thank you, and hung up.
Right. Because you think that's it. It's over.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the objection. I already work with somebody. I already have this product. I don't need it. Okay, cool. I understand that. Is there anybody you know that might benefit from this product or service that might not be having it currently?
Right.
That has led to referral partnerships for me just by asking that stupid little question.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I never would have asked it before.
And I think something we discussed in another podcast was focusing less on the selling and more on building the relationship.
Yeah.
So as soon as you would have heard that rejection, like you said, okay, bye, gotta go. Like, okay, right, well, if you need anything, okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then that's it. But now you realize, okay, maybe you can't help me personally directly, but let's continue building this relationship because maybe there's a little bit more you need to explain for them to say, okay, now I see the value in what this relationship can bring.
Absolutely.
So they're more likely to go at bat for you and be a promoter and refer out to those newer team members.
Right. And a lot of times just your confidence in yourself and your product, you might not sell them, but but like you said, you're gonna have them promoting for you because you have that confidence in what you're doing. Confidence is difficult. It's a difficult thing to build for yourself. It's difficult to do that. Education on your product and things that you're selling definitely helps build confidence. Convincing yourself that you're providing a value to the customers, to referral partners, to anything like that, that absolutely helps build confidence. And those aren't anything that really you have to be a certain type of person to do. You just have to do that. Just educate yourself on what you're doing and convince yourself through the education that, oh shit, this is a product or service that a lot of people could benefit from. Why not share that?
Right, absolutely. You don't have to be an extrovert. You can be a confident introvert. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but if you're really educated on watching Netflix series for 6 hours straight, snuggled in a blanket, well, hell, be confident in that. You know a lot about it.
Sure, right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't watch a lot of Netflix. I watch more YouTube things, but I'm confident in my YouTube abilities.
That's great.
I can Google the shit out of someone making pancakes if I need to.
If you need to know how to understand how to eat a pint of ice cream in one sitting.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. So that's leading up to the point where you get rejected. Getting the no's is part of the process, really. Especially when you're selling business to business or you're cold calling, stuff like that. In your case, people are coming to you because you're a service provider and stuff like that, and you've been doing it for almost 8 years now. So it's a little bit different than my industry. People sometimes come to me based on my marketing efforts and shit like that, but most of the time it's me outbound calling people.
Right. If you can't have people finding you, you have to go find the people.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. It's viable.
Absolutely, it's viable. Yeah, and it's necessary. Otherwise, I ain't going to sell shit.
Right.
But when I those times where I do try to overcome the objection, but I'm just flat out rejected. Well, that happens often. But again, I've learned not to take it personally because I'm confident in what I'm doing. I'm confident that, okay, they're good. They've been educated on their product. They have a relationship built with their person. Understand, you're not my person. I'm not your person. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to call the next guy. Because after I make 20 calls, I'm going to talk to 2 or 3 people who might be interested in my service.
Right, absolutely. And each time you get the 5 to 10 rejections in a row, and it doesn't mean you're doing something wrong necessarily. It doesn't mean it's a bad fit or that you should lose your confidence. It just means think back to that last person that you really helped so it can revitalize your confidence a little bit going forward. Don't think about all the last no's. Like, the next one's going to be yes, and I know that. And have that confidence going into it.
Absolutely. I find that I really take the time to learn and find lessons in the rejections. I either didn't sound confident enough or I started mouthing off my pitch too quickly before even them caring about it, essentially, you know. They're in the middle of pooping and I'm just like, hey, let me talk to you about auto insurance.
Yeah.
It's like, go fuck yourself, dude. I'm busy. And I hear the toilet flush in the background. Oh, when's a better time to call? After I wipe. Go away. Stuff like that. You got to take those rejections and objections, and you have to find a lesson in them and then move on. And then take that information, that education that you just got from that objection or rejection and move forward to the next person. I mean, yeah, if you make 10 calls and all of those 10 people say no, if you didn't learn anything out of those, you need more help than this podcast can give you.
Right.
Because that's just what you need to do. You need to take why did they say no?
What objections did they bring up that maybe the first couple times you tried to overcome them, you weren't that confident? Maybe there's a new angle you need to take. Do a little research to support what it is that you're saying to overcome that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Education on your product really helps build that confidence so that when you are rejected, all right, fine. Then you're at least you understand that I'm just not for them. They're not for me. Move on to the next person. Mm-hmm. And that's not a lesson that you learn right away. Unfortunately, it's something that can take a year worth of rejection and poor performance or something like that. Mm-hmm. You have to take the time to reflect and decide, do I want to get better at this? If you do it. 10,000 hours. That's whatever it is. You have to do something for 10,000 hours, then you'll be good at it. Drums, piano, guitar, anything. 10,000 hours. That's the fucking whatever, standard of it. It's just all about education and reflection.
Mm-hmm. I think that's important. I think with that education, there should come a little bit, with the education, confidence should also be excitement, but also authenticity. Because if you're fake excited, well, then it's like, all right, I know this deal. But if you're authentically excited, well, I might get excited with you there.
Yeah, and that is an absolutely another thing that I have unfortunately recently come to terms with, that I have not been authentically me at all. Mm-hmm. When I talk to people, I'm trying to get them to develop this idea of who I want them to think I am.
Right.
And then it just comes off sometimes as phony, like plastic, Mm-hmm. Like it's not me. Like I'm a person, and I'm able to connect with other people when I'm being me.
Right.
I just for some reason felt like that wasn't good enough.
You're like, people don't want that side of me.
Yeah.
Is what you might think.
That's exactly what was it. I was just like, no, but I don't want them to know me. Nobody's going to buy insurance from me.
I don't even like me. Why would anyone else?
That has a big thing to do with it. Absolutely. Yeah. And then it just kind of became to the thing. I was just like, all right, screw it, man. I mean, what I'm doing now isn't working. This whole pretend, fake it till you make it kind of thing. Like that doesn't work all the time for a lot of people. Sometimes you just have to be yourself. Mm-hmm. And I never understood that. And I thought that was just bullshit advice kind of thing until I got a little bit more involved on LinkedIn with more people. My network started growing. Mm-hmm. I'm like, these people, they're just unapologetically, whatever the fuck is on their mind, they're going to say it. But they're still successful. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's something to that kind of thing. Obviously you're going to alienate some people, which is fine. You're already getting rejections. You're already getting the no's. Now you're just opening yourself up to more people who might want to do business with you just by being yourself.
Yes. They share those same values, so it's easier to connect with them.
Absolutely. So finding the lesson in the rejections and into maybe what you're doing wrong, use those to build your next steps, your plan of action moving forward.
I think rejection has been my biggest motivator. Anytime I see a month with low sales, or I'm not closing as many people, or not as many leads are coming in, when things start to get scary like that, that's the biggest motivator for me. Mm-hmm. That's when I kind of change and shift my pitch a little bit and how I present myself. Mm-hmm. And I think it just helps me close more sales when you have that sort of struggle, as that's for me personally.
Right. Yeah. It kind of lights a fire under your ass a little bit when you realize, oh shit, I'm not doing as well as I could be.
Right.
Or should be, or plan to be.
Right. And what's the alternative? Closing up shop and working for someone else?
Yeah, it's been 2 years since I worked for somebody else, man. I don't want to do it again.
No?
I don't want to do it. It's been 2 years now. It's 2020 is when I left State Farm.
Yeah.
And I've been doing my own shit ever since. On and off. Successfully, unsuccessfully. I have failed, but I have rebounded, and I have tried one thing, I've tried another thing, moved my office to cut costs. I'm in a more central location. It's just like, I refuse to give up. Mm-hmm. I understand that there may be a time where it's just not viable unless I'm performing to where I need to be. Like, that's a reality. I'm not stupid.
Right, you got to be making money.
Right, I got to be making money. And if I'm not making enough money in a certain amount of time, then I have to find an alternative. It's essentially I have to find an alternative. But that's never really that's not really on the front page of what I'm trying to do. That's in the back of the book after I go through all of my options that I've already,
Right.
You have to build your plan of action, and a lot of times building your plan can come from being rejected a bunch and not getting the sales, not performing as well as you want to be because, well, shit, you need to. If you want this to work, you have a dream, you want it to be real, you have to make it real. And not a lot of people are going to be like, okay, here, let me help you do this. Let me get a small loan of $1 million and to just fucking, build a failing empire. That's not really what I want to be. I want to be successful. I know that with success in this industry comes wealth, and with wealth comes hookers and blow.
AKA financial security. Whatever your extracurriculars are is up to you.
I was thinking, it's like, hey, you can cut this out if you want.
No, that's staying in. Like, I'm going to start my own business with blackjack and hookers. I think that's called a casino.
Right?
They do that in Vegas.
That is true. Feeling your motivation with the rejection. It's a big thing for sure, because it can either be like an anchor weighing you down, or you can turn it into a flotation device. Like it's just like you're still struggling, you're hanging on, but you're still doing it, and that in itself is worth something. That has value to it.
You're like, I will stand on top of people who are lesser than me. Like, as soon as you get the rejection, you throw them at the bottom of the pile. I'm going to stand on top of you now.
Yeah, this is America.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
If you can't win, cheat. Rule number 2, don't get caught. I feel like this podcast is more about bad advice than it is good advice.
Oh, shit. I hope not. I think it's just you and I have been around enough to just understand that what the bad advice can be.
It's a little bit of reality.
I've gotten bad advice before from people that are successful because they weren't in my shoes. They maybe didn't have the struggles or the resources, or they had more resources maybe than I have. So their advice is just stop bitching and start dialing kind of thing.
Yeah. It's from their perspective.
It's from their perspective, right. And unless they get the time to build that relationship with you and understand your perspective, how the fuck are they going to be able to give you good advice? Like people listen to this, they might not think that any of this is good advice. A lot of it is, but some of it might not be for them in their specific, circumstance, which I get. But nothing in this world is ever one size fits all. Not even Hanes. They make small, medium, large, double XL. Because not one size fits all.
That's right.
You gotta find what works for you, find what doesn't work for you, and change that, alter it. Don't get stuck on one sort of way of doing things because it might not work.
Right.
So adapt,
learn from it, change it up.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that I feel like I have done. I've adapted. I have changed everything from 2 years ago. I do nothing the same way now, which is better. The way I was doing things just wasn't working out.
But that was your opportunity to find the lesson within that and change things moving forward. You're like, this strategy isn't working for me. I got to switch things up to something that's a little more effective.
Yeah. So there's 5... Yeah, there is 5 emotional cycles of change. Especially, this is really has to do with when you're starting a business or you're trying to grow something. First is uninformed optimism. And that's what I had when I started. I was like, oh, I can fucking do this. I've been doing it for 7 years. I can do this, no problem. I didn't understand how much it actually took. And that I wasn't getting an hourly pay anymore. If I don't sell something, I don't make money.
Right, and the leads in the business that was coming to you.
Yeah.
So that made it easier for you not to take initiative throughout the workday, just waiting for the people to call you.
Yeah, because somebody else was already doing that for me. So that right there was uninformed optimism. And that costed me 9 months of my life that I'll never get back, which is fine. After that, informed pessimism. I understand how fucking hard this can be, and god damn it, I don't want to do that again. And it's true, right?
Absolutely.
After that, you get a valley of despair. You're just like, I failed. I have failed. I need to go back to work for another person. I tried something. I'm not good enough to do this on my own.
Does nobody want insurance anymore? It's them, not you, right?
Exactly.
That's the mindset sometimes.
That is the mindset. It's them, not me. But it wasn't. It was me 100% of the time. It was always me. When you fail, most of the time it's because you didn't do something right, or you did something that was wrong, or something like that. The next step after the valley of despair is informed optimism. Now you understand how hard it can be. You understand the steps you should take to build success from nothing, essentially. And then once you get to the top of that staircase, you get success and fulfillment from all of the work that you've done. So there's 5 steps of shit that you have to go through to learn from everything that you've done. And when I saw those 5 things, I was just like, oh my God, that exactly describes my last 2 years.
The valley of despair comes to mind, just head down, hands in pocket.
That was my December, January, February, and March at the end of 2020 and 21. I was miserable because I was like, oh man, I left a good job. I left a good boss to try something on my own during a fucking global pandemic.
You're like, the world's shutting down. I'm going to start a business.
Yeah. And I wasn't the only one.
No.
A lot of people did.
Absolutely. It actually broke records for how many people filed LLCs.
Yes.
Now, whether that's because people were motivated to leave their current situation, or were they starting an LLC just so they could apply for a PPP loan, and the rest is history.
That probably happened a lot too.
But I think there was this huge shift in consciousness during the pandemic where people realized this dead-end job or this low-wage job is not where I want to be. It's not what I want to continue doing. It's time to find that new opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of shortages in other places. Workers, for the first time in 60 years, have leverage. And that was not the case before. And
employers are still treating the world as if they have the leverage.
Right, they are.
We're gonna hide the salary and the wages.
Yep.
We're requiring you to come into the office. No flexibility. When are you gonna start? And they're like, okay,
Yeah.
thanks for wasting my time. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna head out.
I'm gonna go to the next place that aren't jackasses.
100%. And I think it's a wonderful, wonderful change in the mindset of the workforce, being understanding that hold up. They might be a multi-billion-dollar company, but if nobody's working for them, they ain't gonna be shit. So if you want me, earn me. I don't have to earn your job, motherfucker. Don't give me a 6-week hiring period and a bunch of unpaid hours of testing and shit like that. Like, no.
To really test your skills, we're going to have some unpaid labor.
100%.
Some tests for you to do. 3 rounds of interviews. It's like
driving back and forth. Sometimes it's far away or something, the headquarters or something like that. And like that's unacceptable now. It just is.
I feel like a lot of businesses are in that uninformed optimism right now. They're just like, we just got to wait until these checks from the government stop coming, or eventually they're going to come back. Pretty soon, in a couple of months, this is going to be the valley of despair. No one wants to work for me, is what they need to add to the end of that sentence.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to work ... for me.
For me, yeah. But they don't add that to the sentence. They try to play the victim.
Right.
Like, how the fuck? Are you serious?
Right.
Yeah. It's just, people are understanding now with this pandemic, like how I mean, kind of get a little blah, blah, blah here, but how inevitable life is. There is an end to it. We're here once that we know of. I'm not going to waste my entire fucking life changing tires in your shop because you need me to. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's kind of what made me decide to take this change. It's like, okay, yeah, insurance is not really that fucking fun, But when you reach that success and fulfillment part of it, your freedom, your life opens up to new opportunities.
It has new purpose.
Exactly. It gives me a sense of purpose, People rely on me now. People call me when they need help, and I'm just like, I like being that resource. I like being a go-to guy, And I'm excited because my goal by the end of this year is to be in a position where I need to hire another producer. And I'm really excited about that. I want to start 2023 off with an employee kind of thing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I don't need it now, but I want to be in that position. So I have to work hard enough to get to that position, which I feel like I'm in that informed optimism part on my way up to success and fulfillment. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's crazy the change in both your personality, but day to day, anything with you, it just there's a new fire lit under you. After having some quick wins, I feel like you're on that peak going up now. You're almost there.
I'm not there. I'm almost there. I'm definitely working my way up to that point where I'm sustainable, where I don't have to worry about my bills getting paid every month, whether office rent or my mortgage, shit like that. I'm almost to that part where it's really becoming, I'm starting to see the success and fruits of my labor. But basically going back to the whole point of this episode is because I took all of that rejection and plotted it out and learned from it. I developed my next steps, my plan, trying not to do all of the bullshit that got me rejected in the first place.
Right.
And it's working. I'm seeing it work real time, which is incredible. Optimism. That's not me. I'm not optimistic Adam, I'm just not. But kind of it's sort of developing into that just because I'm becoming more confident in myself, the product that I do. I feel like there's value to what I'm able to offer people. And just kind of just taking that by itself, tying it in with I'm done being fake now.
Yeah.
I'm just done being fake.
Yeah.
Some people are fake and it works for them. That's cool. They're the super happy fun guy at work and they go home and beat their wife and shit like that. Like, that's not me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I think just witnessing the personality change with you, I think proves that it actually was a phase. It's not who you are. This whole sort of,
Yeah. I wish that I could go back 5 years and tell that person, like, hey, bro, there's not always going to be that super dark cloud over your head. Like, shit might not be how you want it to be right now. But if you keep trying, there's a chance that it might work out. Nothing's guaranteed, but what is guaranteed is nothing if you don't try.
Right.
And that's bullshit. Life's too short.
That's right. I'm feeling better already.
I
feel
too.
like I could take these 5 to 6 tips or tricks with me and use those to improve my cold call outreach.
To improve pretty much everything, I mean, anything. Even if you're the customer in a situation, you're the person adding value to their business. So that just gives you more confidence as a customer when you walk in to maybe be a little bit more polite to the people working there or something like that, because I've been on the other side of that counter. I've worked retail. I've worked in fast food and restaurants. Ugh.
Right. Changes your perspective so you can take on the world a little bit differently now.
Yeah. It gives you a little bit more strength and confidence to take on the world, which is a bitch. So, if you learn nothing else, the world's a bitch.
And so can you.
All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around, listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you did. If there's any topic specifically you want us to tackle or just bullshit about, let us know. We'd be happy to. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day.